Welcome everyone to this space. Also, especially welcome Dr. Wan Rizal, Dr. Ong Se Hao, Miss Joyce Teo, Miss Esther Ling, and Miss Iris Peck, and everyone here. Thank you very much for being part of SAMH Parents Connect 2025. We're actually really honored for all the parents and all the family members present here. It's something new that we're trying, and we believe that it's a very important topic, children mental health in the family, and we're very happy that you're here with us today. With that, I would like to welcome SAMH VP, Mr. Winston Ngan, to give his welcome speech.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to join you at the SAMH Parents Connect 2025 Community Forum. I want to take a moment to thank our distinguished panel, our special guest, Dr. Wan Rizal, Member of Parliament for the Jalan Besar GRC, Associate Professor Ong Se Hao, a child psychiatrist, Ms. Iris Peck, a parent, Ms. Esther Ling, an educator, and our moderator, Ms. Joyce Teo, for joining us in today's important discussion. I also want to thank every one of you for being here today, taking time out of your very busy schedule, and we really appreciate it. As I reflect on my own journey as parent, my son has now grown. He's now 30 years old. But I often think back to his younger years. Back then, we did not have the same resources and support systems that parents today are fortunate to access. The world has changed dramatically. The pressures our children face, whether from the digital world or societal expectations, are unlike anything many of us experience. And mental health challenges now affect children as young as 10 to 14 years old. And research shows that 65% of parents of children with mental health concerns also need professional support themselves. As parents, we constantly try to balance the demands of rapidly changing world with our own responsibilities. Yet, it is important to remember that our own well-being directly affects our children, and we cannot be the best versions of ourselves for them unless we also take care of ourselves. The truth is, mental health is a shared responsibility, and we must acknowledge the importance of caring for ourselves as parents and work together to break the stigma around seeking help. By reaching out for support where we need it, we not only strengthen ourselves, but also create a healthier, more nurturing environment in which our children can truly thrive. The kind of proactive care shows why early intervention and upstream efforts with children and pre-adolescents are so important. At SAMH, we are long focusing on this, supporting our youth and their families in the mental health and well-being. By engaging early, we give children the tools and confidence they need to thrive. Our approach is grounded in connection, compassion, and care, especially through our work with parents and caregivers who play such a vital role in the children's own growth. We offer a range of programs and resources to support you. Please reach out to our team to learn more because no parent should ever feel alone. Help and support are always within reach. And before I hand over to our distinguished panel, I would like to extend a quick invitation for you to join us next Saturday, November 15, at our nearby SAMH Space to Connect Center. We are hosting a family day with arts and drama experiences, a chance to relax, connect, and explore creative ways to support mental well-being together as a family. And we hope to see you there. Now let's turn our attention to this morning's event. As we hear from our panelists today, I encourage you to keep both an open mind and an open heart. Ask the questions you have been holding back, share your experiences, if you feel comfortable, and take this opportunity to connect with other parents who may be on a similar journey. And I hope you leave this forum encouraged, supported, and inspired with practical tools to strengthen your own mental well-being as well as that of your children. Together, let us continue to build a community where mental health is valued and supported across all ages. Thank you very much.
Just quickly to add, we have a really cozy group here today, but I think that's sometimes it's a plus point. Okay, we can have really intimate conversations and always think about what you're interested in, your concerns, and this is a really, really good chance to ask them. At the end of this panel, we will also actually do a video recording and we would put them up on YouTube as well. So once again, we really thank you for your presence here. And now I'm actually gonna hand over the reins to our moderator, Joyce Teo, and she'll take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on a Saturday morning. So welcome to this SAMH forum on nurturing mental well-being in children 7 to 12. So my name is Joyce Teo. I'm a senior health correspondent with the Straits Times. In my work, right, I've had the privilege of covering mental health stories, particularly in the past year when we ran a year-long campaign called No Health Without Mental Health to normalize mental health conversations. And I've learned that these conversations are some of the most important ones we can have in a community. They can be very powerful. So I'm really glad to be part of this meaningful forum. And we're joined by a fantastic panel of 4 people who bring real insight and heart to this conversation. Before I introduce them, I'm just going to say that we're going to talk about how to care for young children. We're going to hear real life examples, and then we'll go to how to help parents manage, help their children manage and understand these emotions. And then we'll get to burnout and self-care, which is also very, very important. So let me briefly introduce them. So we have our special guest, Dr. Wan Rizal, is the MP for Jalan Besar GRC. He's a father of 4, and he's a passionate mental health advocate. And then we have Iris Pack, who's walking like a tough road with courage. She's a 2 times cancer survivor, and she's a caregiver to a daughter with schizophrenia. That's like a chronic mental illness that affects how a person feels, behaves, thinks. And then we have Dr. Ong Se Hao, child psychiatrist, helps young minds heal and grow. He's a senior consultant with the Institute of Mental Health. And then last but not least, we have Miss Esther Ling. She's an educator, meets children every day. She's a former MOE teacher, and she's the founder and academic director of English Ninjas, English Enrichment and Tuition Center. Great. Okay. Great. Let's dive in. Okay. So I wanted to start with oh, shucks. Okay, wait. I wanted to start with the foundational aspects of good parenting because I think it sets this tone for children's development. So I'm going to ask Dr. Wan Rizal, right? As a father of 4, what does caring for young children mean to you?
I think you will need to share the mic.
Yeah. Just take this, yeah.
So first and foremost, thank you for SMH for inviting me. Welcome to Jalan Besar, GRC, if you've not been here before. SMH is a valued partner within our community. We work together in many aspects. So they do run programs. If you are interested, do join them too. So many of our residents are part of their programs too, and I think it's been beneficial. So it's a wonderful partnership that we have, and I think the mental health topic remains important. But of course, today we're talking about parenthood. Having 4 children means that you have to understand that each one of your child is different, and you cannot expect them to all behave the same, and you cannot put expectations as high without understanding your child's strengths and weaknesses. I think this is very important. As parents, we only want the best for our children, right? Then we send them for everything that we can, only to find out that it might not be the best for them. So I think as a parent, number one, I think understand your child, find what works for them, and if it doesn't fit them, I think don't put the wrong peg into the wrong hole. I think that's very important. I have 4 children. Each of them are unique in their own ways, as you all know, the first one gets doted on quite a bit until the second one comes in. And then it happens until the third one comes in. But by the time the third one comes in, it's automatic mode already. We've done it all before. We think, but it's not true. Just to share, my third one, he's similar to me. We're dyslexic. And we found out when we had to send him for a developmental check and all that. And for him, it's a little different from the rest. Because he's dyslexic and I somewhat go through the same journey as him. I see his struggles, reading, writing. But beyond that, he has other skills that are beyond what the others do. For example, he keeps an ant colony. An ant colony, serious. Now we have an ant farm at home. We started off with one queen ant, a carpenter queen ant. Guess how much the ant costs? Just one ant. $70. $70. And when I bought the ant, I thought it would be like automatic, right? It'll just, reproduce and everything happens on its own. But not really. We have to feed it. Feed what? So apart from having one ant, I have to have a box of maggots at home. And I have to do all this without my wife knowing. That's the difficult part. But it's something that my son likes and something that actually I also like. So it became a secret hobby of ours to make the colony grow. And the colony, they grew quite well. And keeping an ant is a totally different thing. The queen ant has to be in darkness. He has to have food. You have to give him the maggot's head and the body and some honey. Okay, so apart from that, the third one, he has other skills that he likes, and it's something that we will have to support him accordingly. My other two are right now teenagers, and teenagers, as you all know, are a bit different from the rest. My son doesn't speak to me at all unless it's a yes or no. And don't be so if you are having a teenage son, don't feel distraught lah. We all go through the same. But there are workarounds. Now I come home, he hugs me for no reason. I think for somehow he has started working and internship. So my son, do you have time? How much time do you have? Okay lah, I take the whole time, then the rest we give it to them. So anyway, I talk about my first son. My first son went through a very interesting journey. When he did his O-levels, one of his classmates 2 weeks before O-levels took his life. And I think, so we asked him whether he was affected, and he said, no problem. Yeah. But somehow his results did not turn out the way he wanted. The first one we have high expectations. And when we saw the results, it was a bit disappointing for me. And the first thing I told him, just take any course you can take in poly, settle just engineering course and you're done. But he gave me the look and said that actually he wants to do accountancy. And to go into accountancy in poly, you need pretty low O-level results. And he said, there's no way. I am not going to pull strings just for you, I told him. You got to do this on your own. And he said, it's fine. He wants to take the ITE route. Wow. I'm not saying IT is not a good route. I mean, I speak about it in Parliament, and I say how important for us to believe that there are multiple pathways to success. But it hit me, your own son deciding to take that route. So of course, we gave in. We said, let's give it a shot. At least I can now say in Parliament that my son went through that route. I'm not saying it didn't, but he did quite well, in fact. So he got into the director's list every time. I'm not saying IT is easy, but I think he changed because he's doing something he's passionate about. So that's the second thing I want to push. Push for something that your child is passionate about, and they will do wonders. He never studied, last time. But now every day, come back, he study. And now he's doing internship at the Ministry of National Development. So I asked Minister to check on him once in a while. No, not really lah. But he's doing a good job. And I think he appreciates what I do now. So I think we have a better relationship. So that's about passion and letting your child discover their true compass, their true north. As parents, it's very difficult for us, but learn to let go. Got time for second one? Okay, second one. Second one has panic attacks. I go for many events. And one of the events that and sometimes I don't have time for my children. So I try to bring them for my events. So for example, last 3 years, I I have to go every Hari Raya, no, every Ramadan we have a bazaar, right? And as MPs, we have to make our appearances at the bazaar so people know that we eat street food and we are within the community, which is true, which is true. So I decided to bring my family along, kill two birds with one stone, right? After that, we can eat together. After that, but she couldn't take the pressure of people looking at me and wanting to shake hands and I remember she was suffocating lah. And I told my wife, I think you got to put her aside. Actually, not me. I think one of my staff noticed that she was struggling. Then she said, and she was kind enough to bring my daughter away and let her calm down. And that was the first time I realized she had panic attack. But when I probed further, she actually had in school and all that, but I didn't know. So I had talked with the teacher and we wanted to understand why. Anyway, to cut the story short, I mentioned teenagers, we have communication issues, but I think there are ways around it. So for me, I tend to walk a lot. And when I come back, I actually ask my daughter to walk with me. So when we go for our long walks together, wow, suddenly a lot of stories come out. Sometimes the stories that I don't want to know also, I hear it, no? And I got to, give advice, the fatherly advice, when I can. And somehow I now have more stories from my daughter than my wife. Not bad, huh? But find a way that you can connect with your child. I think that's equally important too. So for me, I found out that only my daughter would want to go for a walk with me at night. So she's technically my late night girlfriend when we go out at the park lah. Huh? If people catch me, it's not my wife, it's my daughter. Okay. So anyway, find another thing that works for her. Her panic attacks have gone. I think with our talks and how we communicate, I think it gives her a lot of assurances. So as parents, bottom line is understand your child's strengths and weakness. It may take a longer period of time. It may have its ups and downs, but that's parenthood, you know. But take it easy. Rest assured that we're all here together because we all have a shared interest in our children, but we also have a shared challenges as parents too. And good to know that amongst all of us, there's something we can connect with. But always remember, believe in your child, never give up on them, and don't judge them too early. Right? They'll never know how they can surprise you. So I think I can go already, right? I've done, I've done a bit.
Thanks for that candid sharing. Yeah, that was very interesting. Okay, so it's good to hear like all this real life stories, right, from our MP, people in the community. So we're gonna get to Iris. As a parent of a mental health of a child with a mental health condition, Iris, I wanted to ask you what were your key considerations when caring for her in her primary school years?
Okay, actually, when I mean, she started off with a school bully. So at about 9 years old, she actually got bullied in school. So after that, what happened is that when she come home, right, she will say, I don't want to take my wallet to school anymore. Then I was wondering why. I'm not hungry, but the actual fact is that she got bullied. So actually, for parents, I think we also need to look out for signs that if they get bullied, because this one actually started and triggered the way, and after that, I think she developed into like selective mutism, where she don't want to talk at all, and after that become anxiety, and the worst thing is that she developed this schizophrenia in her teenage age. So I think as parent, because we are always very busy with our own work, so sometimes we tend to like overlook what happened in school. We didn't know what happened. So I would think that we must always like talk to them. Maybe like every day when they come home, we talk to them like what happened in school, all these things, so that we can find out some clues that whether their mental health are okay or not.
Right, and I wanted to get to Esther before Dr. Ong, right? So, Esther, from an educator's lens, right, what do you think children need most to feel secure and mentally well in school, at home?
I think from an educator's point of view, for a child to feel safe is for them to know that it's safe to make mistakes. I think one of the saddest things I have seen as an educator is when a child is so scared to make a mistake that they don't even dare to try. And then I know that the child doesn't feel has has an idea that if he or she makes a mistake, there's going to be severe judgment, and therefore they freeze. Right. So I think to feel safe in school and at home is for the adults in their life to hold space for them to be children, and they will make mistakes. And for them to understand that, hey, it's okay to make a mistake. Let's learn together. What do you need from me to help you do better the next time? Right. And as Iris just shared, to really ask them questions and to connect with them, whether it be about how they are feeling or how maybe school is making them feel or how going to school makes them feel. I think there's so many conversations and teachable moments within those conversations that would make them feel safe, knowing that their parent or a trusted adult in their life has their back or has time and space and wants to know how they feel.
Right. Okay, we're gonna get to Dr. Ong. Gonna ask you a little bit more serious question. So you work with many families who come to you feeling anxious, confused, even guilty, right? So from the cases that you've seen, right, what are the first signs that a child might be struggling emotionally, and what are the signs that parents often overlook?
Right. Thanks, Joyce. Thank you for the questions. I think children of different ages present differently with their problems. For the younger children, like in preschool or primary school, I think sometimes they may present with temper tantrums or, defiant behavior. Sometimes they also present with physical symptoms like, "Mommy, I got stomach ache. I don't want to go to school." Right? Yeah. So I think that is a red flag. If it happened once, maybe it's true that the child is not feeling well, but it happened all too often. And if it happens at always the same time as when he is about to go to school or when school is starting after a long break, then you want to really explore further. Like, is this a pattern there? And then you need to maybe find out more from the child and also from the school as well. For older children, like teenagers, it's a different ball game because they went through puberty. They have gone through a lot of developmental changes in the way they think and feel and act. So they may not present the same as children. So they may be a bit more withdrawn. They suddenly don't talk too much. They don't come to you. So some of the red flags would be like they stay in the room all day. They don't keep to their routines. They don't join the family for meals. They sleep late, or sometimes they gravitate towards using handphone or laptops or computers to occupy their time, and they often use it excessively. So it could be a sign that they are trying to use gaming, and social media, um, YouTube, etc., to manage their feelings, be it feelings of anger or frustration or sadness or anxiety, right? So again, if you see a pattern, then you need to sit up and don't just ignore it. Yeah, so that's a good start.
So that's the time when you want to reach out to them, I guess. Because children today do face quite a lot of pressures, right? I mean, it's not just the studies, the social media as well. And then when you're young, 7 to 12, that's when you start to feel emotions more deeply, right? So let's talk about how parents can help their children manage their emotions. So I want to ask the panelists, what are some of the healthy ways parents can go about doing that? Okay, maybe I'll start with Dr. Wan Rizal again. So, because you have 4 children, right? How do you help them? Um, how do you teach your children emotional regulation?
Wow, I think I shared that a bit earlier about
Yeah,
how
like
we
you wanna,
connect.
yeah.
Yeah, I go for walks with them, and that's when we have a good talk about it. I tell you first, whatever you think that morning routine that you send your child to school and you talk to them in the car, that one not enough. Oh, just to let you know first, it's not enough. You have to go a bit further than that. And I think certain connections can only happen when they feel connected to you over certain things. I've heard about how you mentioned earlier. So really about connecting through things that they could be passionate about. Lah. So I talk about like my son hobby, for example, the ant colony. That's something we share, and that's something we can connect at that level. But to be honest, emotional regulation for us as a family, I think we do very poorly in that. Lah. We do very poorly. We always think that we do very poorly, but make sure you have proper structures. What do I mean as a proper structure? One structure I find very important is family dinners. Family dinners are pretty important. I get 0 dinners with my family, so it's very impromptu. You know, sometimes I look at my timetable. Yeah, I got time. That 1 hour time, if I can rush home and gather them, I'll tell my wife gather them at the table. So we have a big family table. Like it or not, they have to sit down with me and we eat. Sometimes they don't like it, but that's where McDonald's comes into play. We never give McDonald's, right? But suddenly put McDonald's, everybody will be eating, and suddenly it becomes a family thing. I don't promote McDonald's, just to make it clear. So it's just one of the ways we get them to involve. So find things that they like to eat and bring them out. That works all the time. That works for me at least. But have some dedicated time. If you can have time for your own self care, I think you also can put some time for family care. I think it's something we tend to forget. We always say self care, self care, but do we really have family care? I think it's something I reflected over the past few weeks. I just took a new job. Sorry, not a job, it's an appointment. And I feel that as a Labour MP, it's very laborious. And really have less time for my family. So I tell myself that maybe I need to actually not just have self care, but I need family care time. And I think it's something that we all can dedicate ourselves to. It need not be long. It could be something that we could have at least half an hour of sitting down together and just eat. You know, that works for Singaporeans, right? Food
Right.
always brings us together. So something
That's
to
true.
consider.
Right. So, Aris, you had earlier we were talking about it, right? You have a lot of tips to share with us on that.
Actually, it's like usually we'll need to teach them how to manage disappointment, because when they are in school, definitely they will face a lot of disappointment. So we need to teach them that way. And also, like for me, I will try to, as a family, like what Dr. was saying. Yeah. So as a family, we have this family lunch every week. Is a must. So we have to make sure that everyone, like, because of my daughter's case, in one stage, right, there's this hatred from my son. So we need to try to connect them as a siblings together. So having lunch together is one way to connect them lah. So at least they sit down and eat together. And also I will bring her for a walk. I try to bring her out from the house lah. Because at one stage she doesn't want to go out of the house at all. So it's like I need to pull her out to make sure that she's outside, and then she get connected somewhere. If not, she will be like disconnected. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but how do you? Sorry, one more question, right?
Mm.
How do you help her manage her emotions? You know, like you mentioned disappointment, worry. Do you continue talking to her, or
Yes, I continue talking to her. And sometimes I talk to her, but there's no response. So no choice. We got to keep on trying, because maybe you can ask, maybe drawing or maybe sing, because she like to sing. So singing is like maybe bring her to karaoke, wow, then she will sing a lot. So find something that she is interested in. Because some children, they might like they got some, pick up some hobbies. Then for my daughters is singing. So some people maybe they like to go exercise or they go swimming. So find something that can connect them. Yeah,
that's
thank you.
interesting. That what Dr. Wan Rizal said about the ant colony. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Esther, I mean, what are some strategies parents can use to help their children manage emotions, from your point of view?
I think one part of it is for parents to also acknowledge that they are learning along with their children and to have self compassion. Remember, children are watching and they are listening. And if you're very harsh with yourself, the likelihood is they will be also very harsh with themselves, right? And so to talk to your children, to connect with them, as the other panelists have said, is very important. But connect with them and also share your own experiences. Not in the when I was young, I used to, no, not that kind of experiences, but like, mommy had a disappointment at work today. I worked very hard on this project, but it didn't turn out the way I expected it to. And to process that, not together, but to share how it made you feel, and to normalize that yes, there are going to be disappointment in life, and for your child to also say, hey, you know, my parents go through the same thing and we are in this together. Another thing that I do share with parents to do is to go pick up something new or do something new together, right? And then your child sees how you manage that uncertainty also. And together you learn how to regulate your emotions. For example, going on a hike, and maybe, you know, there is something on the hike that scares you, an animal, right? Monkeys. I mean, most of us like see monkeys are like, oh, back off, right? And then so your child also sees how you deal with your own fear, and you can say, oh, you know, let's stay calm, let's walk away slowly, ask for help, let's look for a park ranger. And so these are all learning experiences together with your child, and they learn to regulate as you regulate also.
Yeah, that's interesting because earlier we had a discussion, right? And Dr. Ong, you mentioned that you cannot always shield your child from negative things. I thought that was interesting. You want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, and thanks, Esther, for bringing it up. I think as a natural response, parents tend to protect and shield your kids from any adversities. And while we understand that it's out of love, it's natural instinct, but if you do it too much, you are depriving the child from the chance to learn how to problem solve, you know, or to how to recognize danger and avoid it. Right? So parents are not infallible. You need to show them that you're also humans. You also have your mistakes. You also make bad choices, but there's always a way out, a solution. So sharing your own personal experiences at work or with your colleagues, and say that, hey, I feel a bit stressed up today because my boss gave me a hard time. You know, I think kids can handle that kind of conversation and understand why, Papa, you know, you're so good and so good. How come you feel like that? You know, so you actually teaching them, like, you know, even adults have it hard, right? So important to let them know that um, that it is okay to fail sometimes or make mistakes, but you get up and continue to move on. All right. But important thing is also to talk about it and not just keep. I think children, because they see that they idolize their parents, they feel that they're all so good, they're infallible, they cannot make any mistakes. So for me as their child, I better not make any mistakes. So if they so they'll be very guilty, may feel guilty because they did something silly things, or they may not want to share to their parents at what they did, you know, and they will hide and they will lie about it. Then one lie will lead to another lie, and by the time parents found out, it's a huge problem. So I think that communication and being able to show that to the kids from young that it's okay to talk about good things, but also talk about bad things that happen as well. No one is perfect, and children are very observant. So you observe parents from their childhood, early childhood, and they see how parents deal with difficulties and what should be said and what should not be said. They remember it, right? So if you have a parent who's very critical, invalidating, and say that you got to deal with it, you know, right? Yeah. It's not my problem, or very dismissive in a sense. Then the child would not have that opportunity to communicate and also learn from very young how to deal with problems in the future. So those are very important points. Thanks.
Yeah, that's interesting. That brings me to the other point, right? I mean, do you think that parents today feel pressured to fix the child's emotions quickly? You know, like find a solution instead of helping them sit with it. Maybe. What do you all think?
Shall I carry on?
Sure, go ahead.
Right, yeah. I think you need to use your judgment and discretion. Very often you read social media or the news, a lot of parents, like for example, just a neutral case, I'm not referring to any cases, when there's report of your child being bullied, the parents are very reactive. They'll storm down to school and say, why my child got bullied in school and all that stuff, you know. Sometimes it sounds like as if their child is not part of the problem, you know, right? Yeah, but actually, there could be other things, you know, going on as well. So it is, like I said earlier, it is very natural instinct to shield and protect the child, but overdoing it, you know, can actually harm the child because the child doesn't know how to deal with bad situations or bad feelings, because all this while when they grow up, they don't know how to deal with pain and frustration because everything's solved by parents. Parents will bulldoze their way through, put everything, adversities and obstacles all pushed aside. The child will have a straight, smooth path to success. Then when they come to adults, they go to the workforce, they don't know how to solve problems, cannot deal with colleague interpersonal problem, cannot deal with stress, cannot deal with workload, cannot deal with a demanding boss. Of course, I'm exaggerating here. Okay, but you get my point, right? Yeah. So, I think it is very important to be first take a step back, appraise the situation. Is my child in danger? Is my child in harm's way? If it is, then you need to really do something about it immediately. But is there a chance that he could be also contributing to the problem? Okay, let me get more facts. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to the school, find out a bit more. So don't be too judgmental, right? Yeah. No blame first, because if you blame a child from the very get-go, the child's not going to talk to you, right? Yeah. So you have to adopt a non-judgmental, non-blame, that kind of attitude when you speak to the child. All right. Yeah. And I think that is a good start, a kind of mindset that adult caregivers should have, because we're just too quick to pass judgment, and blame anyone, for the problem, right?
Yeah.
So taking a step back is good.
That's true. I mean, I wanted to ask Esther also to chime in, right? Because now in Singapore, especially parents, we're supposed to work with the teachers, but of course, it's not always a smooth process, right? So, in your view, any advice there for parents?
I think just to add on first on what Dr. Ong has just said, I think also there is something to be said about frustration tolerance, and which it goes into resilience, right? How fast we problem solve for our kids means how short their frustration tolerance is going to be. I've had a parent ask me once, she was at wit's end because her child says, "Look, mommy, I don't want to take the PSLE. I'm done. I'm out." Right? But that's not really a possible choice or a logical, reasonable choice. And as I talked to the parent more, I began to understand why the child would say that. So there's the child's frustration tolerance is very, very low. So she'll say, "Okay, I want to take up ballet." The moment it gets tough, she tells mommy, "I want to quit. Quit. Take up art." The moment the art teacher says something to her that she did not like, "Mommy, I want to quit. Quit." And so what she's been practicing is quitting. Exactly. And I'm not saying that never let them quit, but I think there's a fine difference between knowing when to walk away and just quitting anytime that you face a certain obstacle. So I think that that's something that is a delicate balance. But giving your child the space and the time to sit with frustration a little bit goes a long way to help them develop resilience and to not have quit or give up as the first thing that they, pull on and be like, "I'm done." Yeah. Sorry, what's your next question about? Sorry.
Like about parents working with teachers. Yeah, because that's new. I think parents, everything is new to us, right? You're a first time parent all the time. Yeah. So with this working with the schools, in your experience, right? Do you see? I mean, what's your advice for parents there?
I think that it's quite different when you're working with MOE teacher and you're working with an external like enrichment or tuition teacher. Simply in terms of resources, time, that's very different. But I think being open to whatever your feedback is given from teacher is important. Your teacher sees your child in an environment where you are not in it, and usually a child behaves quite differently when the parent is not around, and so your teacher is your ally. Treat them as your partner in helping your child. I think most teachers want to help their students, and so keeping the communication open with teachers is a great way to start. And I say open because some parents will be like, "Nope, my child is this. I do not accept what you say," and it becomes very difficult relationship.
That's true, but I think sometimes it's the child, right, who thinks that the teacher is not on my side. Don't listen to the teacher.
Well, I think that's there are many layers to that conversation there on why a child would say that. But generally speaking, I mean, when okay, maybe if one teacher gives a particular feedback, you can take it as feedback, right? If three of your child's teachers in three different settings say a similar thing, then maybe pay attention to it and have a little bit more of a deeper conversation or deeper think about what that feedback could mean and what actions you want to take based on that feedback. Yes.
Yeah, true, true. I think we should be open to it, and then not, quickly blame somebody for it, right? Okay, so we're going to get to the third part, which is the burnout part, which is very real. And then we'll talk about self care. So, because parenting a child, especially one who is struggling, can be really exhausting. So, I wanted to ask Iris, you've lived through burnout, right? Can you tell us about it and how did you come out from those darkest moments?
Okay, so my daughter actually started off her this illness quite early as 9 years old, and it had been like 18 years. So initially it's really very very tough for me. So initially it's like I have always to be on alert because I always afraid that she might run out of the house without me knowing, because even if I hide the key, she will try and search it. And also I'm also very worried because she might harm herself or harm other people. So it's like a very struggling for me lah. I mean, for so many years. And the worst thing is that there's one period of about 2 year plus. I had this my daughter with schizophrenia and also my mother with having dementia. So it's like wow, it's like end of the world. So it's really very hard to manage. So um actually during that time I've thought of like ending it all with her lah. But luckily I didn't lah. That's why I'm here. So and also I believe that for um caregivers like us, what is more important is we have to practice self-care first, because if we're not going to care for ourselves, then is how are you going to care for them, right? And then for me, I'm also quite lucky because I also started a second career. I mean, after 10 years, my daughter have this illness progressively, because beside like taking care of her, I also work with the doctors lah to make sure that she get the treatment, because I understand that a lot of parents also have this denial, and they didn't want the kids to go through the medication, because medication have a lot of side effect. Yeah. So that is the thing. So for me, I mean, after about 10 years struggling, fortunately, I also get my second career. So now I'm an estate planner also, to help people that is in my situation how to manage their finance, because this is one area that I think is very struggling. And I was also turn to my faith for some comfort on my side. So for me, I feel that burnout is true. Yeah, burnout is true, because for the first almost 10 years, I'm struggling. Yes. But eventually, over the years, I also like find ways to how to take care of myself. Because for actually for within this period, I got 2 times cancer as well. Because yeah, actually it's very true. When you are in very stressed, cancer will find you. Yeah. So for me as um, a main caregiver for my daughter, my advice is to all the caregivers, care for yourself first. Then you will have the strength to care for your loved ones. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's very important. Earlier we were talking about with Dr. Wan Rizal, right? Given your busy schedule and he ends work at 11 p.m. every weekday, maybe even weekends. I mean that's crazy. But so how do you make time for self care? What does self compassion mean to you?
Not 11 p.m. midnight. Okay, so anyway, to understand why self care is very important, maybe I give you a quick background. When I first started politics 6 years ago, I don't know whether you noticed, I was 80 kilograms. I was 80 kilograms. I don't see very fat, but it's a dead bod. So it's all where the belly is. And And the lifestyle as a MP was we have late nights, we finish late. Sometimes when we are done with, and you know we have volunteers. You after that you go makan with your volunteer and all that. And where Jalan Besar is, we got a lot of good food, right? So sometimes get soup kambing at night, and I realized that weekly soup kambing is not healthy lah. Let's put it there first. So I think after one of that events we ate, I have felt like my heart beat like 1,000 times faster. But anyway, there was this one time, I think about 3 years back. It was December holidays. Me and my children were out at the beach. Having 4 children means you have to run after four. Usually catch the last one because it's the youngest, but you can't catch the rest. And that's when I think I collapsed. I wouldn't collapse. I just sat down and I told myself, I cannot do this anymore. And I look at my children and I ask myself, wow, if I cannot look after myself, how am I going to look after them? And then it struck me that I got to do something about it. I met a doctor the next day. The doctor scolded me. He said, you're the expert in this area. You know, you're a sports scientist. You should know better how to look after yourself. And I said, yeah. And I thought about it, but it didn't really hit me until we have Healthy SG now. We launched Healthy SG about 2 years plus back, and Minister Ong talked to me and said, Rizal, can you lose some weight? I said, why? They say, we want someone to drive this Healthy SG. Good if you can. When you speak in Parliament and when the time comes, you have something to say. See, actually not a bad idea, huh? So let's give it a shot. So I gave it a shot. The bill was in August, and I took about 8 months to lose about 13 kilos. I thought I did a good job. Then I found out Minister Masagos lost 14, so that's it. I lost the bet. But anyway, I lost 13 kilos. At the same time, I think I discovered a lot about myself. I took some videos of me starting to exercise. You know, people like when politicians take videos and they exercise. So my first few videos was quite horrible. I vomited and I struggled, and suddenly a lot of people began to like my videos. But anyway, that struggle was real, and I did lose weight. But most important, I realized that it's actually quite important to look after yourself. I'm a lot more, I'm much fitter now, I must say. But that comes with the energy, you know. I wouldn't have this boundless energy if I hadn't looked after myself. So I make sure that I have a dedicated time for self-care. I drop the kids off by 7:30. By 7:30 I'm in office. A bit too early, right? So I exercise. Now my office is near Marina Bay. No reason not to do something there. So 7:30 to 8:30, I take the time to exercise. I started very simple, to be honest. I just walk. I walk and I listen to podcasts. A boring podcast. I like The Economist, so I always listen to The Economist. So it's boring, but you can find something that you might like. But it worked for me, and I lost 13 kilos. But now with these exercises and all that, I think it gives you a lot of energy. And I always tell myself, because I'm not only doing it for my family, I'm also doing it for my constituents who I'm in service for. So for me, it's a lot of responsibility, but also telling myself that we need to have that self-care and that time for myself. If not, I can't look after the many people I'm responsible for. So I hope that gives a big perspective how self-care is and how deeply it means for me.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's important to take care of ourselves because I think children also do pick up on our stress. So I wanted to ask my two other panelists, right, your thoughts on this, right? So, on how parents can model emotional coping even when they are not feeling well, when they're struggling. Yeah. I mean, Esther, because you mentioned that, some parents, they'll cry before PSLE, before O levels. I'm like,
Yes. So, because I work very closely with parents, like I said, I'm an ally in their child's education. I do have parents calling before a major exam and the parent is crying. And that's how much stress the parents also dealing with. Um, and having to speak to them and speak into what's really important, the bigger picture, helping them to manage their expectations helps them to calm down. And I think that in modeling that emotional regulation, um, like I said earlier, is to not hold yourself to this perfection. Okay, we are all humans, and so when we hold ourselves to like, oh, I can never have a bad day, I can never show my emotions to my children, you're actually modeling not dealing with emotions. I think that being very open about it and saying, well, mommy's or daddy's also feeling very stressed with you, how about we go for a walk together, right? Or how about we'll work for an hour and then let's go cycling together. Um, uh, to model that healthy coping mechanism, rather than not show them anything and be stressed. Yes, of course, you can call your teacher, your child's teacher, and cry, I can't do this anymore. Um, um, as an outlet, but also find something that works for you. Right, as has been shared, to go for your own walks, find your own time. If you enjoy being in the outdoors, then do that and share that with your child also, right? In how you regulate it, your child learns from that. Yes.
Dr. Ong, your advice on this?
Yeah, I think I echo what Esther said. Like I said earlier, parents are not infallible. So I also tell the parents in my clinic, studying and doing well in school is a very personal thing. You cannot do it for your kid. The kid have to do it themselves, right? So at some point, you also need to adjust and even some lower your expectations. Some kids are just not academically inclined. They could be um, possibly excel in something else as non-academic, and I think we should also highlight that as a strength and not just keep focusing on academics. So non-academic excellence is also very important, be it sports or music or dance or being an influencer or other things, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think when it comes to that breaking point when the parents are so stressed, um, right? I think it doesn't do the kid any good or to the parent any good, because the parent wouldn't be able to work optimally at work as well. It's for the parent to acknowledge that they're going through these feelings. And I think these are also spilling over, I'm quite sure, to the kids. The kids will feel it too. So you have to tell the kid that I'm currently overwhelmed. I can't handle this right now. I need to take a short break and disengage for a time to do some personal self-care. And then when I'm in a better headspace, I'll come back to see how I can help and support you in your learning. So you're actually modeling that for the child to see. The child can see that even adults had it difficult, and instead of letting emotions run wild, the parent took responsibility to take a step back to reflect, regulate the emotions, and come back to address the issue in a very calm manner, in that sense. And sometimes the kids appreciate that, right? Yeah. And you got to do it again and again, because one time doesn't always send a message across in all aspects of our life, not just PSLE, every aspect of our life. When the going gets tough, this is what parents need to do, right? Yeah, because these are all teachable moments that you can provide for the child. Given so little time that you have a child, every opportunity to teach is you should grab it.
Yeah, just want to add to that. Um, and if you lose your temper or like things go crazy, you can't control, have some self compassion. That is also a teachable moment to say, hey, I'm really sorry I lost my cool, and to own it. And then your child learns that yes, these things do happen. You will lose your cool, you will snap, but what happens after that is also an opportunity to learn together. Yes.
Right. And Dr. Ong, you mentioned that, when parents come back home from work and they're really stressed, take a deep breath, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm going to ask Iris one quick question, right? Um, parents of children with mental health, they often face stigma or misunderstanding, even from family or friends. How do you cope with that? And, what do you think communities can do to support families like yours?
Stigma, right? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, in Singapore, I find that it just can't help it, lah. But it's like because when my daughter, if she don't talk, you don't know that she got problem. It's normal. But when she start to speak up and acting out, well, people will start to look at her differently. So I think over the years, I think our government also do something like um, to make aware of this mental health issue, so that more people are aware that um, it is something that the society need to, like, it's an inclusive society kind of thing. So which I think, because initially when my daughter is younger, I find that whenever she act out, people will start looking at her. Yeah. But I will try to tell her, say, okay, it's okay. You just like don't take it so to your heart. Then mm, because there's nothing you can do to change the people's perception of this. But as parent, we just try to, like, maybe tell them to not to take it too hard, I should say. Yeah. But I also hope that the society can change the perception of the mental health people, so that they can feel more inclusive. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
mean, as we talk more, I guess normalize these conversations, you'll get better. Dr. Wan
Yes.
Rizal, you do agree, right? You've spoken about mental health in Parliament and in public as well.
Yeah, I think the stigma is real. That's the whole reason why we keep on talking about it. But I've actually looked at the Hansard. Hansard is a parliamentary paper that shows how long, all the speeches that have been made. In fact, we've been talking about mental health since the 1980s. In fact, one of those who really pushed for mental health back then was Madam Halimah Yacob. And as I look back and I see the history, we've been talking about it all the while. But have we seen changes? We have. In fact, the stigma in mental health remains, but the awareness is much higher than before, and that's why you see a lot more people more open to seek help. Not enough, but I think we can do more to ask people to not to worry about seeking help. So what has happened is, over the years, they've started the mental health office. So the mental health office just started last year after we did a debate in Parliament where 30 MPs actually spoke up, and back then DPM Lawrence Wong assured us that mental health is a national priority. And what it means is that we are now going to have a proper system, what we call a tier system, to make sure that everyone is being supported, and it doesn't take so long, to get you into one phase to another. And if you need to be in a certain tier, you'll be there much faster than before. Because previously everybody went through one tunnel, and that tunnel got stuck. But now with different doors, more doors open, I think we can triage them better. But this is among the efforts that we do in the community. But we do know that we need more, and that's why dialogues, talks like this are very important.
Yes.
But beyond that, I think we can do a lot more by getting more facilities involved. And I think we need more mental health professionals, which we lack seriously. But accessibility will be an option. But most importantly, it comes from us. We need to be what we call mental health literacy. That means you must know. So in case, we all have first aid experience. Someone gets a cut, you know what to do with it. At the very least, you wash it and you put a band-aid over it. But if someone has a mental health issue, how do we support them? How do we help them? I think it's something that all of us need to take responsibility for it. This generation might not be as adept yet, but the next one will definitely be. And I'm quite confident that as we move along, mental health will be as accepted as special needs was. Special needs was stigmatized just 20 years ago, but now everybody is accepting it. The inclusivity is there. So I believe generations will come and will push this agenda forward. So don't give up. Continue our efforts in mental health, and I think we'll get there.
Yes, that's good. I think things have improved a lot, especially after COVID. So I think we're going to wrap up this session soon. So as we come to a close, I would like to ask each of our panelists. I actually had one final question, but I just want to ask you for one final thought, maybe a message of hope for parents who's worried that their child may be struggling emotionally. Yeah. Let's start with Iris. You were saying parenting is not magic.
Mm, sorry, what's the question?
One final, yeah, one final.
Oh, for parents. So for parents, I mean, from my point of view, since I got so many years of struggle, uh, my point is that maybe for the child, we need to teach them how to manage disappointment. And for the parents, the most important thing, tips over the so many years, I think, is self-care and self-compassion. Take good care of yourself first. Yeah.
Dr. Ong?
Right. I think in my years of practice as a child psychiatrist, I have this observation that children actually want to connect with other people, especially, of course, the parents. So a lot of children and teenagers nowadays, because they are so busy in their school life, in their CCAs, in their social media, you might think that social media helps them to connect, but sometimes they make them actually very siloed, because there's actually it's not actively interacting with people and not face to face, but you're just passively scrolling. That's not connection, right? So I think communication is very important, and you should start early. Talk to a child when the child is a toddler all the way up. Don't suddenly just at teenage years start talking to them, and then they will look at you and suspect, like, what do you want from me? Ask me so much question. So talk to them when they are very young, okay, to develop that normality, about sharing and talking, and then have that emotional connection. Identify their feelings, acknowledge them, validate them, but tell them that hey, sometimes they got it wrong, right? Maybe there are better ways to manage their feelings in a better, healthier way, more adaptive way, or how to adopt a different approach to solve the problem. So communication and emotional connection is very important, and it will really go a long way to help protect the mental health well-being of the children and teenagers to come. Yeah, thanks.
Esther?
To add on from what Dr. Ong said, I think one thing that I always tell myself, even when I'm angry, is connection before correction. Right? You can't correct if you are not connected to your child. As an educator, that has really helped me with my students to connect with them before I seek to correct. I think connection also helps me to understand why they may be feeling a certain way, why they are acting out. And I think that act of connection makes them feel or gives or lets them know that you genuinely care. Because if I just want to correct the behavior and I don't care about you, then it becomes an end product thing. Right? I just want this behavior from you. I don't really care about the root or how you are feeling or why you are feeling this way. So connection before correction, I think, is the biggest thing. And as we have heard, so much of mental wellness and well-being for children comes from being connected. Studies have also shown that in bullying, the biggest factor that helps mitigate bullying or reduce the chances of bullying is being connected to a trusted adult. And so, just with prioritizing connection, we can help our children in so many ways. Yeah.
Dr. Wan Rizal, I know you've spoken quite a bit. Do you have a final thought for us?
I will have a lot of things to say, That's the problem with politicians. We got a lot of things to say. Actually, I thank all the panelists for sharing their thoughts and very honest experiences that you all shared. For me, I'm every time I sit in a panel like this, I feel I get smarter all the time. But at the same time, become a lot more empathetic. But I just want to say that events like this are important. We want to continue we want to continue pushing the mental health agenda, but parenting is not easy. All I can say is I've heard issues on PSLE. See, don't worry about PSLE. Oh, what I want to remind everybody is don't be too hard on yourself. There are always workarounds. Maybe I share one tip. I have a PSLE, right? My son, the third one, is doing PSLE this year. And this year I'm quite proud of myself. I can answer all the questions. How do I do it? ChatGPT. But that's a way to use ChatGPT. So people think that you take a picture of the question and you get all the answers. That's not the way to do it. So ChatGPT has so I'm teaching you all ChatGPT. If you go into ChatGPT, there's an option where called study and learn. You don't know, right? Now you know. Click on study and learn. Say I want to teach my son his PSLE. This is the question that he has. Please coach him. So it goes step by step. Rather than telling you all the answer, they will interact with your child and ask before they get the answer. and that is a much better way of doing it. So of course you must stay there lah, because you want to take the glory, right, of being able to solve the question with him. But you are there, you have a coach that works together with him, and I think that is the perfect combination. No question I cannot answer now. Please use technology. I think technology is something that I want to push for too in this AI age. Parents, don't be afraid of it. Study and learn. In ChatGPT works very well for your child. So don't add extra pressure. There are out there a lot of tools to help you. So don't be afraid of that. Remember, better beats perfect. Better beats perfect. It's always okay to be better, but you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. The study and learn. I didn't know about that. Yeah, and also actually, hearing all these conversations, right? We don't have to be perfect parents. We just need to, I guess, keep learning and keep showing up for our children with love, with curiosity, with care. So we're gonna wrap up this session. So on behalf of SAMH, big thank you to our panelists today, and thank you to our audience for being here, for spending your Saturday morning with us.
We're just gonna hold you guys on stage for a bit. Now there's actually time for Q&A or any comments and questions. Is there anyone that might want to speak into the mic to ask a question? Anyone? Or share? Oh, okay. Here and then here, okay?
Hi, thank you for everyone sharing. So, on the topic of AI, I think we are seeing more articles about students overly using AI. So, as we guide them on using AI, how do so the issue is as they grow older and they start using AI, and if they are submitting their whole work using AI, how do we control that while they are still not on it yet? My kid is P4 and P5. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I'll take that. From an education point of view, I think that we need to acknowledge that AI is a tool that the next generation will be using a lot. I think it's about education and about telling them, and I tell my nephew this, he's 13, and he tells me about all his friends who use AI to submit their homework. So I said, look, technology is meant to um, help us be more efficient. It is not meant to excuse your brain, right? It is meant to leverage maybe how you collect information. It's meant to leverage a greater knowledge out there, but it's not meant to excuse learning. So I think that some conversations you can have with your child would be how generally just internet is being used, how they can use internet. And I think that it is a double-edged sword, but curiosity is great, and get them to learn how to use it to find out more about things that interest them. So I think that's one first, how they use it, not just to passively get information, but to ask questions. I think AI is great for feedback. I think AI is a great tool to help them learn how to improve things. For example, if they have a piece of written work and they are not sure how they can do better, you can use AI to give feedback, like how can I make this better, right? It's more of how you use it rather than don't use it at all. Yes. And also, of course, there is that conversation about integrity. If you are submitting your work and you're putting your name on it, you need to have some integrity. If it's not your work, if AI did the work for you, then it's a problem if you put it up and say, this is my homework, I am submitting it as my homework, but you didn't actually do that work. It's a great question because every school is now grappling with how to use AI. Yes. Thank you.
Okay lah, I have a different view completely. I want y'all to be afraid of AI, but I want you to thrive in AI. Like it or not, it's going to take away jobs. Now I'm in NTUC, I do employment, and I also deal with retrenchments. And like it or not, I've seen the trend where jobs are lost because jobs are being transformed. It's transformed. And when it's transformed means a job that you could do previously could be easily done by AI. I give you an example. I have a staffer who follows me around every meeting, takes down notes, and he gives me, after that, right, takes down the minutes, give me the notes, synthesize for me. Then I told her I don't need you anymore. Not that I don't need her lah. I asked her to do something else, but I don't need her to follow me. Why? Because I have a AI transcriber. It records everything, and within 30 seconds, I get a summary, I get an action plan, I get who said what, I get to email it out, I get a workflow, I get everything. Like it or not, it's going to take away jobs. The good thing about your question is how are we going to use it for our children? Your children don't have to worry. We will find a way, they will find a way for themselves. Just like how we found a way to work with calculators. When calculators was first come out, right, people say, oh, that's it. All the accountancy jobs are lost because people cannot calculate. Or when Excel was done, oh, no more jobs with any. But we have seen how jobs have been transformed over the years. I'm more worried about people my age and around there who might not be able to grasp AI. But the young generation, don't worry. They will be able to do it. If you ask me, because I was teaching previously, I want my students to use AI pervasively. Because I use it pervasively. I wake up in the morning, the AI knows my body temperature. It sets the temperature of my room to make sure that, okay, just to make it sound more AI-ish. When I sleep, it will detect the room temperature, find my body temperature, it reduce by 2 degrees so I can sleep better. I wake up half an hour before, it increases the temperature up 1 degrees higher, so I wake up not abrupt. You know, sometimes you wake up abrupt, you get angry, right? But this time you wake up, wow, perfect. And then by the time I wake up, things happen. The curtains will open itself automatically because I got that curtain opener. Downstairs, the coffee gets done because I already set at that certain time my coffee will be made. You just press one button. But of course, I've got to put the Nespresso pot inside lah. That one I don't. That one the AI cannot do yet. But it's so pervasive the way I do things, from my emails to the way I work, how I write my speeches. But cannot write speech one time and that's yours. That's a trick to do it. And you have to make sure that. So I use ChatGPT, but I still take 2 hours to finish. You know what I mean? And that's when you found out that that's in your language, your tone, how you want it, how you. They can help you with, of course, the simple stuff, but the heavy work actually comes with you. And those who know will know. The problem is most of us don't know, and that's why we think that AI will take away everything. And that's where you need to upskill ourselves. This is something that we are pushing as a nation. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong talks about it. AI will be a game changer. We need to know what it is before you can. Because when I see my students work, I know this is AI. Have you seen the recent TikTok video, the NUS lecturer threw away the notes and scolded, you all don't have integrity, and in my mind it's like, that's how the future is going to be like. Students will use this, and if they don't use smart enough, just grade them down lah. Why you be angry for? You know? And I think we have to be open about AI and how we use it pervasively. I'm not worried about the young. I'm worried about people out my age and around there, because jobs will be affected. How we perceive others using AI will also be affected. It's like, wow, you use AI, not so good. Use it. I mean, I use it all the time. So by the moment I finish this event, an AI will summarize my event, and it will come out with a posting, and I'll put online. And of course, people will flag, oh, he never used thought process and all that. I say, come on, it's just a post, you know. But it gets out there. People know that we had this event today, and life has gone to such an extent. Emails, I used to take 2-3 hours at night to do my emails, so I take maybe 10 minutes now, just to make sure that the AI don't send the wrong words to my residents. But I still have to go through because you still need to make sure that the content is correct. But other than that, everything has cut down a lot of jobs, a lot of time. Let's embrace AI. Let's not worry too much for our children. They will figure it out along the way. They will be much better than us. If my time is about using computers, right, and learning how to use computers, they will adapt. They will adapt. Those who cannot adapt are those who are my parents back then about computers. Remember, my parents do not use computers? It's the same generational problem. So don't worry about them too much. Worry about us and how we perceive AI and how we use AI. Did I sound very scary? Truth lah, truth. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question over to you.
Actually, I just want to ask if because my child is actually 13 years old, is teenage, so she started actually don't really want to talk to us much, and then now is as long as we want to go wherever events, she doesn't want to follow. She just want to stay with herself, and then with the earpiece on, always on, and then listening music or maybe TikTok. So how can a parents to actually bring her out of her house, I mean her room, and then to actually have a active activity with us? We're trying to do many ways, but still sometimes couldn't. Yeah.
Can I say something on social media? Sorry, I got a lot of things to say. Ban social media for your kids as early as possible. Have you all read this book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt? Anyone? Go get the book. It's very good. It talks about why we have these problems now. We live in a world where we like to compare through social media. Swipe here, swipe there, don't like here, don't like there. That talks about instant gratification. We want delayed gratification for our kids. That just changes everything. I press a button, I need to get it now and then cannot lah. But social media somehow triggers that in our brains. Social media triggers a lot of comparison. One of the reasons why we have a lot of mental health issues somehow, according to the book, is that social media pushed it. With the introduction of Facebook and Instagram in the 2000s, that really changed how the teenagers perceive themselves, and it has affected kids. So my suggestion, if you have younger kids, ban them as soon as possible. If you have teenagers like me and it's a bit too late, it's not wrong too for them to be don't okay. So I go back to the fact that I mentioned earlier. Don't feel too hard on yourself. I have teenagers too. My daughter's on that thing all the time. And that's when you need to find a way to get them to disconnect. How do we get them to disconnect? Walk with me lah. So when they walk with me, okay, why she walks with me? Very simple. When she walks with me, she get half an hour of screen time. So every minute you walk with me, you get a minute of screen time. Quite a good deal, right? So that's why she walked 1 hour with me. And that's how I get all the things from her. It works. Find a way that works with your child. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no magic formula. But if you have young children, ban them. Is in the we have talked about this in Parliament. The reasons why we have come out with that book. That toolkit took us 3 years to get it done. I was in the committee. Not the best, but it's a good start for parents to refer to. It was by MSF, by MOE, all right. And I think and we had the Compass Group. A Compass Group is a group of parents that came together to come up with this toolkit. So we are very proud of the product, but we know that reading is one level, but we need to do more. And there are many ways we can support. So if young kids ban, older kids find a way to get them to disconnect. But don't feel bad if they don't disconnect completely, because I remember when I was young,